take this time to welcome you to the 2018 Annual AIMED State Conference here at South Flagler. The conference theme, Migrant Education, Inspire, Advocate, Cultivate, reflects the true culture of our Texas Migrant Education Program and the Association for Migrant Educators of Texas. To be an advocate, one first needs to know the information, the data. All individuals involved in our Texas Migrant Education Program take this first step by ensuring the following: accurate identification and recruitment, consistent NGS data management, full implementation of the Migrant Education Program, and the dedication to increasing migrant student performance in all academic areas. Secondly, understanding the migrant experience is essential to be an advocate. It develops empathy and appreciation for the migratory lifestyle of our migrant students and families. This is where we see the beauty of our conference theme: inspire, advocate, cultivate. Our migrant students and families inspire us with their stories of struggle and success. This then leads staff members within our migrant education program to advocate for our migrant students and families by being a voice for them. Finally, we all come together as a migrant community comprised of migrant students, families, staff, educators, and administrators to cultivate our migrant education program. We embrace this tough and lengthy process of cultivating because the result is so worth it. We witness and proclaim the success of our migrant students in the post-secondary arena and in all areas of life. Our AIMED conference is here to offer and provide those resources and networking needed to inspire, advocate, cultivate. We invite you to take full advantage of the state conference that is focusing on the Texas Education Agency 4 strategic priorities and the following objectives. And we'll be covering these through our General Assembly, academies, breakout sessions, and our keynote speakers. We want to receive training on updated state and federal mandates regarding IDNR, NGS, and the administration and implementation of our migrant education programs. Acquire information regarding new and innovative instructional programs and research-based strategies that will increase migrant student performance, in particular reading and math. Revitalize that spirit of commitment and dedication to ensure migrant student success. Engage in the sessions targeting best practice that improve parent involvement, and then expand that network of peers that share the same passion and vision. Remember, being an advocate is an ongoing journey and responsibility. Stay on target and be mindful of the space you take. Use your space for people to hear our migrant students' voices. Make space for our students' voices in all spaces. Thank you for your hard work and dedication in cultivating our migrant students' success. I hope you enjoy the conference. Thank you. At this point, it is time for our keynote speaker. I'll bring up intro, sorry. Jonathan Medina, featured on ABC, NBC, and ESPN. Author of the upcoming book, Migrant Mindset. Hired to motivate nearly 500,000, 400,000 students, staff, and parents across the U.S. at places like Harvard, Texas A&M, and schools from New York City to Los Angeles. Georgetown University football player and starter for 2 years. Ooh, my son's a football player also. All-state basketball player in high school, 3-time All-Valley. Broke record at McDonald's for the most happy meals eaten in one day. or weighing 300 pounds, please stand and welcome top speaker Jonathan Medina.
Thank you. So you have a seat. Now, I was speaking at a school in Dallas, Texas. They brought me in to speak to the migrant students. Little girl, there was actually in the entire region, they had them at the regional event. The little girl looks up and she was like, "Sir, you're a big Mexican." But I want to be very clear right now. My introduction said that I'm 6'4", 300 pounds, but that's not true. I've lost some weight. I'm very proud to tell you all that. I only weigh 299 pounds. Thank you. Now, when I first got to college one day, my coach came up to me. He looked me right in the eyes. He got close. He grabbed me by the shirt, and my coach told me, "Son, you're too small." See, when I first got to college, I was very, very small. I only weighed 250 pounds. I was speaking at one event, and the students, one little Mexican girl, it was just a regular school assembly in Dallas, Texas. One little Mexican girl in the front row, she looks up and she was like, "Sir, 250 pounds, that's still gordo." Not funny. And so all the students began to ask the question. They said, "Sir, what does that mean? What does that mean?" And I looked at all of these students in Dallas, Texas. I looked them right in the eyes, and I had to get vulnerable. I had to tell them my secret on that. And so I looked them all in the eyes and I said, "If you don't speak Spanish, gordo means strong." But that little girl in the front row, she looked up and she went, And they said, Sir, tell us, what does it mean?" I said, "Fine. Gordo means smart." And the little girl was, And so I finally confessed to the chief. I said, fine, gordo means a little husky. It means a little chubby. And so I worked an entire year. My coach said I was too small, and they wanted to change my position. They wanted me to play a position called left tackle. Anybody ever watched the movie The Blind Side? It came out a few years ago. I played the same position. I played left tackle. My number one job was to protect the quarterback against the big, strong, ugly guys on the defense. And so my coach wanted me to go from 250 pounds all the way up. And so I worked hard for an entire year. I lifted weights. I ate. And I went from 250 pounds all the way up to 285 pounds in 1 year. My coaches, they rewarded me and they said, "Son, you've done a great job. You're going to be the starting left tackle." And it was 2 weeks before the season started. They gave us vacation. I flew down to Texas. My coaches, they said I wasn't done. They said, "We want you to go from 285 all the way up to 300 pounds. And they said they didn't know if I could do it or not. But they didn't know that when I came to Texas, that I was going to fly down into Texas and I was going to have a very, very small secret weapon. No, not Happy Meals. I love flying down into Texas and doing speeches in Texas because I love seeing the big orange signs of Whataburger, but that's not the secret either. My secret weapon, she's about 5'2", my grandma. See, my grandma, she loves me. She loves me more than all the other kids because I was the first grandchild. Now, I'm not sure if your grandma loved you the way my grandma loved me. My grandma loved me so much that she made me the breakfast of champions every single morning. She made me chorizo con huevo. My grandma, she loved me so much that every single day she made me stuff like arroz and frijoles. I love coming to Texas because in Texas, on the weekends, we get this wonderful food called barbacoa. But my number one favorite thing that my grandmother would make me, she'd do it on the weekend. Everybody say from scratch. Everybody say homemade. Fresh. She'd flip over these homemade, fresh from scratch tortillas de harina. I'd slap on some butter or some mantequilla on those tortillas. Ruin my shirt because they would drip down on my shirt. Man, that's not funny. But I'm sorry, I didn't come all the way to the Rio Grande Valley. I didn't come all the way to South Padre just to talk about food. But if y'all want to see me later, I'm going to be at the place that has all you can eat flounder. But one day, a little girl after one of my speeches, it was a parent and a student event. A little girl, she came, she took a selfie with me after the speech. She put it on Instagram, on her social media. She hashtagged Amit. No, she didn't hashtag Amit, but she posted on her social media, and she said, "Best motivational speaker I've ever heard." And so I commented back, I said, "Who else have you heard?" And she was like, "You're the only one." But she said, "I'm so inspired. I want to go to college. I'm so inspired. I want to have my dream career." But then she said, "But when you started talking about your grandma's tortillas, I got hungry because I skipped breakfast." So today I'm not just going to talk about food. I have a few other things that I want to talk about. But I can't come all the way down here and just speak by myself. I need some volunteers. I'm going to do like my coach would do it. I'm going to do some voluntold. And so right here, you can stand right up there. You can come up onto the front in front of all the board members and the committee members. And then I also saw a gentleman, he was wearing a vaqueros. I'm so pumped about the new university name. Sir, you can come on up. Give our two volunteers a round of applause. And sir, don't think I left you off. You're going to come up too. And you're going to stand right there next to him. Now, my first volunteer, what's your name? Deidre. Deidre, where do you come from? She comes from Altex. Everybody give Deidre a round of applause. Now, I bring Deidre up because I know she has a big, huge dream. She's going to go and she's going to inspire. She's going to advocate. She's going to cultivate. She's going to do some really big and amazing things for her students and her families. But on the outside, she is weird. She's little. She's so cute. My grandma, she'd say it like this. She'd say, "Mijita, estás bien chiquita." Now, again, I bring her up because of her size, but as I go on, I've spoken to all these different migrant conferences, as events that they hire me to go speak to students. They ask me to go inspire the students. I spend a lot of time. I don't just go when I speak. I spend a lot of time afterwards. I take photos, I autograph. I even respond to every single comment that kids write to me on social media. And so many students, they make a big mistake. I ask them, what size dream do they have? What size vision? What do they want to be when they grow up? And many students, they make a mistake. Perhaps because maybe a parent hasn't done it for them. Maybe even an educator hasn't done it for them. But many students, they look at me and they say, "Sir, I don't know. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I don't know what I want to do when I get older." My favorite motivational book of all time, bestseller, it says that without a vision, the people perish. Everybody repeat that with me. Everybody say, without a vision? Without a vision?
Without a vision?
The students lose.
The students lose.
Now, I know you're not like that, so you're going to go and you're going to go back and you're going to inspire, you're going to advocate, you're going to cultivate. And so could everybody give her a round of applause? And then we're going to say it one more time. Everybody say, no little dreams.
No little dreams.
No little vision.
No little vision.
We're going to flip flop you guys a little bit. Mr. Sanchez, you're going to come up. You're a little bit bigger than her, but you're not the biggest of all the gentlemen today. So today, Mr. Sanchez, he comes from Texas A&M International. He represents for us, everybody say, average dream.
Average dream.
Average dream.
Average dream.
I came back from one of my trips. I was speaking at a group in California. I came back from over there. My little brother Jeremy, he has to live with me. Or he had to live with me because he was taken away from his dad. I know that's a different, unique situation, but your kids are going through all kinds of other unique situations where they're traveling the country. All these students have these different things. So I came back from California, the Fresno area, and asked my brother Jeremy, because he was living with me, I said, "Jeremy, how are you doing in school?" My brother Jeremy, he looked at me, he pulled out his report card. It was report card time. He smiled big and he said, "I'm passing." We had just got my brother Jeremy a brand new Dodge pickup truck, because we're from South Texas, you gotta get a truck. And so we got him a brand new Dodge Navy pickup truck. Well, it was used, but still new to him. The new iPhone had just come out, so we got my brother Jeremy the brand new iPhone. Well, I got the new one, I gave him my old, but still. But my brother Jeremy, he never had a car, he never had a phone. He pulls out a report card, he says he's passing. I looked, I inspect, And it was true. So I grabbed my brother's phone, I grabbed the keys, and I grounded my brother. I was in one school, little boy in the front row looked up and said, "Sir, you're mean." I'm not mean, I love my brother. And I don't want my brother to just be average. I don't want him just to be passing. I want his grades not to be at the bottom. I don't want them in the middle. The same way I know all these families, these migrant families, they're working so hard. I think it'd be a shame if their kids, they just stay at an average level. So that's why it's so important that you all inspire. It's so important that you all do those things for these students. And so could you all give Mr. Sanchez a round of applause? And everybody say, no average inspiration.
No average inspiration.
Carlos, come up. Big, strong, hard to move you. Now Carlos represents for us, everybody say, big dreams.
Big dreams.
Big vision.
Big vision.
I remember the first time I was in 7th grade. I put my shoulder pads on, I put my helmet on, I looked in the mirror and I was like, man, I'm a stud. When my coaches, they looked at me, I had moved from school to school over and over, so my coaches looked at me and they said, son, you're slow. They said, son, you don't know where to go. And they put a big, huge letter B next to my name. I know we're in Texas, so y'all know all about Texas football. There's the A team, and then there's the B team. Of course, the B team is all the better players. No, it's not. I know, I can't get away with that here. Everyone go, aww. But the same way, I just drove by, I was showing some people in Austin, my grandfather's house that we grew up in. We started off in very, very humble means. I can't believe my grandfather, I'm sure he didn't know that I would end up going and inspiring almost 500,000 students and teachers and staff across America. My grandfather didn't know that because we started at such humble means. But I tell the students all across America, I tell the parents all across the United States, it's not where you start, it's where you, some say and some say finish. Let's go with finish. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. Everybody give him a round of applause. Now, awkwardly, I'm going to come right back over here. You get to represent for us 2 different James Roberto. Now, the first dream you're the average dream because you're average size, but the second dream that you're going to represent for us because, well, there's no hair right here. You represent for us. It's okay. I'm losing mine in the back. I'm right behind you. Everybody say, old dream.
Old dream.
That's messed up, y'all did that. Everybody say, old dream.
Old dream.
Now bring that up because I want, as you all go back to go and inspire your students, you go back to cultivate dreams, you go back to advocate for them. I want you to advocate, I want you to show them that they can have dreams and goals that don't just take one semester to accomplish. They don't just take one test to accomplish. I want you to help your students think about dreams and goals that are going to take them years to accomplish. They might be in middle school right now, and they have years and years before they go to college. It's years and years before they go, and maybe they serve in the military. Years and years before they go and do some great things, some great professions across this country. And so it might take even you all some years and years of pushing them, years and years of you inspiring them, advocating for them, until they get to this big old dream. Everybody say, big old dream.
Big old dream.
Right now, I have a dream and goal that I'm going to speak to 2 million students. I have a dream and goal that someday I'm going to be the best husband that there ever was because I love my grandparents. My grandparents were migrant workers. My grandfather, he worked the fields here in South Texas. He worked the fields in California. My grandfather worked in cotton gins all across the South, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina. But unfortunately, him and my grandmother, they got divorced. So I have a dream and a goal of being the best husband that there ever was. I want to have a long-lasting family. I want to have that dream and that goal that my grandparents had for their family, that my mom ended up following behind when she got divorced. So I want to be different from that. I spoke at one group one time, a little girl, she said, sir, I want to be different too. She said, my family, we worked in the fields, but I want to own the fields. And so I hope that you all go back and you inspire these kids to go and have big, old dreams. Could you all give Robert a round of applause? Now, Robert, because you're about my size, you're going to come here with me? Can you hold this microphone real quick?
I know, we're not going to wrestle, right?
Now, we just went over what size vision, but the next thing that we're gonna go do, Robert, my coaches on the second day of football practice when I got to college, it takes them a while before they give you the shoulder pads, the helmet. They say, find someone about the same size as you. I could have told you Carlos, but Robert, you're about the same size. And so my coaches, they say, find someone about the same size as you. And they had us do this drill called the Oklahoma drill. They should call it the Texas drill because Texas is better, but they call it the Oklahoma drill. Right? Now, perhaps they call it the Oklahoma drill because to me this drill seems like it's really dumb, but there you go. And so the first thing you do in the Oklahoma drill is they line you up, they say find someone about the same size as you, and you get down, you put one or two hands into the ground. Robert, put your hand in. Now I need everyone's help. Can everybody say down?
Down.
Set.
Set.
Hold on. Robert, I'm gonna give everybody a quick tip. I'm gonna give you a tip because clearly I'm bigger than you. I don't know if I'm stronger than you, maybe I don't know. But first thing you have to do is you have to get low. Everybody say get low.
Get low.
As I go on to speak to staff and students staff and parents all across the country, I ask the staff, staff and parents to remember that as their students are going through these difficult times, as they're traveling from school to school, they're losing their friends, they're losing the teachers that had already connected with them, they're losing the progress that they might have made, and so they have to go to a new school and start from scratch. I ask the staff, I ask parents, remember to get low. Get on the student's level. Get low. Ask them how their lives are doing. I ask you all to get low. You have to inspire them. You have to get them to do great things, but first you must get low. Get low and communicate with them. Get low, become their friend. Get low and build a relationship with them. Everybody say relationship. Everybody say get low.
Get low.
Okay, you're not getting away from this, Robert. Now, Robert, next thing you have to do is you have to focus. Don't do this to me, please. But you're not allowed to do this in football anymore. What I was going to say to do is I'm going to have you I'm just going to do it to you instead, okay? Because you can't do it to me. I have to speak still. But I'm going to put my forehead and I'm going to aim it right in your chin. When I make contact, I'm going to hit you right in the chin with my forehead. So that way it knocks your head back. If you knock the head back, the body follows. Everybody say where the head goes?
The head go.
The body follows. That's the smoothest head I've ever touched. Now, so I want you to focus. I want you to get in your head. Same thing as you go back and you work with your students, as you work with the families. I want you to get into their minds. I want you to get into their heads because where the head goes, the body follows. If you can get them to dream, if you can get them to be inspired, the rest of their body will follow. The rest of their effort will follow. Everybody say focus.
Focus.
Okay, it's time. I'm not going to go through the next ones. Everybody say down.
Down.
Set.
Set.
I'm just kidding. This is South Project. We're supposed to have fun here. And you were way too eager. I think you were actually going to try to take me down. Now, also on there, we talk about observing. I want you to notice. I want you to focus. And don't worry, I'll send you all the slides later. So if you want to take a photo, that's okay. If not, it's fine. But the last part, to me, the most important part of it. My coaches, they said this drill's going to show us who has the most power, who has the most strength. But my coaches were actually looking for something else. My coaches wanted to see who had the most, everybody say heart. Heart. Everybody say heart. Heart. Man, y'all are good. Now, my coach wanted to see who had the most heart. So if I make contact, if we hit, and we're fighting, we're going at it hard. We got low, we focused, we crashed into each other. We were working and working and working. But at the end, it's often who has the most heart that wins this competition. Who has the most heart that wins when you go one-on-one. But as you all go and you inspire these students, as you go and you advocate for them, as you go and lead these families, I'm afraid to tell you that probably the most important thing, you can learn all kinds of strategies here, and it's awesome. But as you lead, and you go with the right heart, you go and you know that you have to keep on going no matter what it takes. Even though you start working with one family and then they leave. Even though the student that comes into your office they might be behind, even though maybe the family doesn't speak English, even though maybe the family has gone from school, and you have to work with them, and you have to make connections just like that. You have to inspire them just like that. I ask you to do it with heart, always. And so, the next thing I want you to do, I'm going to do this part, and so I'm going to ask this, where she's right here. Miss Wendy, could you come with me? Now, Miss Wendy has a very difficult job. She's going to get down and she's going to get in push-up position, and then Miss I'm going to get down, and I'm going to get into push-up position. This is another thing that I do with the students when I go and I speak with students. I lift them up on a steel bar, ask them to hold on. Everybody say, hold on. Hold on. And so I'll talk to them, I'll ask them to hold on to their dreams, hold on to their future, hold on to their education, hold on to their destiny. But I'm not going to do that one today. I have a quote. Everybody say push. Push. Everybody say persevere. Persevere. Until school. Success happens. This one to me is more important. We're going to do anything about each individual. Everybody say persevere. Persevere. Until student success happens. Everybody say push. Push. And so today, I'm going to have Miss Deidre. She represents for us that small dream, that small vision. And so she's going to stand on my back. The first time I ever did this, I was in San Antonio. They had about 5,000 students come into this huge auditorium. They had the news was there. And I was speaking with one of my friends who would do a push-up with someone little standing on his back. And then all of a sudden, he switched the script. And he's holding the microphone and he tells the news. He tells all 5,000 students and staff, he says, Jonathan is going to do a push-up with someone really little standing on his back. And I was like, no. And he had the little person stand on my back, so you're going to stand on my back. And I'm going to try to do this. I recently blew on my back, so my medical professionals have told me not to do this anymore, but this is the ANIC conference. This is South Padre Island.
Yeah.
This is Texas. And so I need to give you all my very best. I'm going to push and see if I can do it today. And so she is going to stand on my lower back, and she represents for us all the dreams and goals that your students have. She's going to stand on my back. All you're going to do, you're just going to stand, she's going to hold your hand, and I'm going to do a push-up with you standing on my back, hopefully.
Got it.
Real quick, I need everyone's help. Everyone's going to say push on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Push.
Now, when I do the push-up, you're going to do it just like that. That was perfect.
Medina, let's see.
Okay, so I step like right on your back, like right here.
1.
1, 2, 3.
Push.
Not loud enough. 1, 2, 3.
Push. Yeah.
Everybody give her a round of applause. That was great. But this isn't just a conference. This is the conference. Everybody say no little dreams.
I know, right?
Our dream. Mr. Sanchez, I'm going to have you stand on my back. Could you hold his hand? One, two, three. Push. And that's everyone. Now, sir, Carlos, I didn't realize you were so big when I picked you out of the audience. Anyone ever gone to a restaurant? You're really hungry when you get there, so you order you're like, I'll have a botana for 4. And the plate arrives and it's way too big. And so you have to push it back. Carlos, you go have a seat. I'm not going to do it. I'm kidding. Everybody say big dreams. Big dreams. Big goals. Big goals. Big inspiration.
Big inspiration.
Can someone pray real quick? Can you just stand on my back? You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Wait. 1. Everybody push on 3. 1, 2, 3. Pump it up. Now real quick, everybody give all the volunteers a round of applause. That was so great, that was so great. Now you can have a seat, y'all can have a seat. Everybody say push. Push! Push! I remember the first time I got chosen to take a game-winning shot. I was in 7th grade. It passed the ball on the free throw line. I turned, I took the shot, the ball's flying through the air, it's spinning. The buzzer goes off. All the moms and dads in the crowd, they go silent. All my teammates are sitting on the edge of the bench. We're all looking up and just watching the ball spin in the air. And all of a sudden the ball goes. Everybody go. Okay, I'll be honest, hit the rim, but it went in. And all the moms and dads that were screaming, yelling, they're like, good job, good job, hurt your knees, hurt your knees. It's not funny. And we all went to each other, give each other like little 7th grade chest bumps, like, woo, psh. Okay, and I'll be honest, there was only like 3 moms and dads because it was 7th grade B team. And it was down the road, it wasn't very far from here, it was in Harlem, Texas. My mom that day, she said, Mijo, son, I can't go to your game, but I'll be there when y'all get back. The bus rides back to our school. The coach has everybody, he says, everybody line up right here. That's my coach's voice. Everybody line up right here. And I watch as one kid gets picked up, another kid, another kid, another kid. Until it's finally just me. And my coach looks over me, he says, son, where are your parents at? Where's your mom at? And I looked up at him and I said, sir, I didn't know what to say because I was embarrassed and I was nervous. I said, oh no, coach, I was just excited because I made the game-winning shot, but I'm supposed to walk home. And I began walking home, and with every step I'm wondering, where's my mom at? Why wasn't she there to pick me up? How could my mom disappoint me like this? I finally get to the house and I knock on the door. And I didn't know, but my mom, she'd been drinking all day long. My mom, she'd been doing drugs all day long, and she forgot about me. But worse than that, my mom thought I was the police trying to come get her and split up our family. So she grabbed my brothers and sisters by the hand, she walked them over to one side of the house, she made them lay down on the floor of the closet, and she told them, shh, quiet, the police are outside. I could hear what was going on inside the house, so I ran over to that side of the house. It was a trailer house that we lived in. I ran over, I began to bang on the walls. Boom, 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 mom, open the door, it's me. And she just kept on going, shh, quiet. Boom, boom, mom, no, it's me, Johnny. And my little brother and sisters, they were like, mom, it's Johnny, open the door, it's our brother, open the door. And I kept on banging, boom, 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 mom, please, boom, boom, mom, please. And I can remember the sun coming down, tears coming down my eyes. I had a dream and a vision for what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the first of my family to go to college. It seemed so difficult. I felt like giving up. I felt like quitting. Luckily that year I had some educators that inspired me. They told me to push. Everybody say push. Push. My favorite motivational speaker, he said, if you fall down, try to fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Everybody say get up.
Yeah.
My coach said it a little bit different. My coach used to say, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday, you can always win today. Everybody say win today.
Win today.
My coach also told us, he would say, gentlemen, we'd be surrounding him just the way you all are right now. He'd say, gentlemen, decisions determine destiny. Everybody whisper that one real quick. Everybody say decisions determine destiny. My mom kept making bad decisions, so my mom goes to prison for the first time when I'm in 9th grade. We had moved to Houston, Texas, and I get sent down to the Rio Grande Valley to live with my grandfather. My grandfather's a hardworking man. I already told you my grandfather, he worked the fields here in South Texas. He worked the fields in McFarland, California, Bakersfield, California. He worked in Illinois. He traveled the country for work. My grandfather worked hard his entire life. And I was so disappointed that my mom, even though my grandfather had sacrificed, even though my grandfather had worked so hard that my mom would make bad decisions. I don't believe that my grandfather was working hard his entire life so that my mom could make those kind of decisions. So my grandfather starts to take care of me. my grandfather starts to teach me some lessons. One of the lessons, sorry, I left this a little bit. One of the lessons that my grandfather told me, as I learned living with my grandfather, watching him as he traveled the country. I remember being a little kid, and we'd wait, because usually my grandfather would come around Christmas time and he had more money than normal. And so he'd get us better gifts than normal. And I watched my entire life as my grandfather would go. He'd go to California. My grandfather would go and come back to South Texas. My grandfather would go to South Carolina. My grandfather would go to Mississippi. And I watched as he would go. Everybody say, go. 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 And so I watched my grandfather go. And so when it came down to me, I knew that it didn't matter what university accepted me. It didn't matter where they gave me the scholarship. I was going to be willing to go. The same way that my grandmother would go across the country, I was going to go across the country if it took it. I was going to go and take my scholarship no matter where it came from. I was going to go and apply to leadership camps. I was going to go and apply to a job no matter where it takes me. As I travel the country right now, I always learn the lesson from my grandfather. It doesn't matter if I'm hired in Texas. It doesn't matter if I'm hired in California. I go wherever they hire me to go and inspire students, wherever they go and inspire families and staff. Everybody say go. Go. My grandfather also taught me one more thing. When I was 15 years old, going into my sophomore year, my grandfather goes, but he leaves me behind. He decides this year that he was not going to travel with me. I was going to stay living in Rio Hondo, just about 20 minutes from here. I was going to stay living with my grandfather, stay living at home in his house. He was going to leave and leave me to live all by myself. My family got split up, siblings in different places, and I'm living with my grandfather. My grandfather knows that my mom has just gone to prison a year and a half before. My grandfather knows that never be my real father. My grandfather knows that we're poorer than the other kids. But my grandfather knows that my teachers, my educators have inspired me, that they've helped me to have bigger dreams and bigger goals. So my grandfather's sitting in his truck in Raymondville, Texas, as he's about to leave to South Carolina for 6 months. My grandfather looks me in the eyes, and my grandfather tells me, "Mijo, en esta vida hay que luchar." If you don't speak Spanish, that means, son, in this life you have to fight, you have to wrestle. Everybody say luchar! Luchar! Luchar!
Luchar.
Man, y'all are good. I was in California in this one school, and it wasn't a migrant event, so all the kids did not speak Spanish. And so I was like, everybody say luchar! And the kids were like, luchar? Real quick, everybody say like my friends in California, the little kids, there we go, luchar! Luchar! Y'all are ridiculous. And so every day I come to school, and I knew I took my grandfather's words, I took his advice. Even though I lived by myself, I went into athletics, and even though I didn't start off as a great athlete, I fought and I wrestled and I was luchando to get to my dream and my goal. Every day I came to school and I was focused on my education, I was focused on my dreams because my teachers, my educators had inspired me to do that. And so I was fighting and wrestling for my dreams and my goals. I was fighting and wrestling. I came on Saturdays to tutoring. I did whatever it took, and one day I'm sitting down and I get a letter in the mail. One of my counselors, he took me over to some camp visits. He took me to Michigan State. We had gone to see all these universities, but that counselor told me that I was special, and he told me that I should dream big, and so I applied to Harvard. And I'm opening this letter in the mail. That counselor, he told me, he inspired me. That counselor was advocating for me. That counselor told me that I could go do some great things. I had other counselors that told me that I was making a mistake, that I shouldn't apply to those schools, that I was wasting my time, that I was wasting the school's money, I was wasting her time. But I had this other counselor, Mr. Cortez. He made me dream big. He made me have a big vision. And so I'm opening this letter from Harvard, and it says denied. And I began to cry. But I thought about the words of my educator, the counselor that took me to go visit, to do camp visits. He had told me to listen to the other advice that my grandfather gave me. He told me, listen to the words of your grandfather. Your grandfather told you to fight, to wrestle, to luchar. And so I say, okay, I've gotten denied to Harvard, but I still got some more letters coming in the mail. A week later, I get another letter. And it says, congratulations, you've been accepted to Georgetown University. And I became the first one in my family to go to college. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so in Harlem, Texas, I get on a Southwest flight. I have my 2 free bags. Southwest is one of my sponsors. No, they're not. I'm just kidding. But if you know about Southwest, you get 2 free bags. So I take my 2 free bags. I fly from Harlem, Texas, over to Washington, D.C. I go up to the 8th floor. I pack away my cajon or my drawers. I'm done like in 5 minutes. I come downstairs. I take a seat. And I watch as all the other kids begin to arrive. I was a poor kid from here in South Texas, but I'm watching as all these other kids, they come from prestigious families, they come from well-off families, so I'm watching as Cadillac Escalades drive up and they're pulling big, huge trailers. I didn't know that Mercedes had an SUV at the time, Lexus SUVs pulling up big, huge trailers. I only had my 2 bags that I took up to the 8th floor, but I'm watching the dads, they're carrying these big, huge flat screen TVs out of the trailer and up the stairs. All the moms, they're crying over their sons, they're like, oh, I'm so proud of you. Well, really, they were all white, so it was more like, Trevor, I'm so proud of you. That's messed up. But I get to college, and I spent 4 years there in college. I'm working hard, just like my grandfather taught me. I have my dreams. I'm inspired from my high school staff. They tell me that I could go do that. And so every single day I go to school, I'm focused. I'm holding on to my dream. I'm pushing. And one day, they announce my name. They say, Jonathan Eric Medina, I stand up proud. I got my jersey on. And I look good. I got my helmet on, I'm like, click, click. And I look good. And they announce my name. They say, Jonathan Eric Medina, I stand up proud, chest out. And I walk across the stage and I shake the president of the university's hand, because it was not a football game. It was not my jersey. It wasn't my helmet. It was my cap and gown. And I became the first one in my family to graduate college. Thank you. Why are you still holding my hand? She's like, he's sweaty. Close to my university is a statue of a man named Gandhi. One of Gandhi's famous quotes, he says, be the change you wish to see out in the world. Oh, sorry, that's my grandfather. That's a slide that I forgot to do. That's my grandfather and that's my uncle way back in the day. And so one of Gandhi's quotes, he danced to that music that just played right there. And he said, be the change you wish to see out in the world. I need to tell you a little bit more about my university. I was the kid from South Texas. I walked that stage. I shook the president of the university's hand. But my next door neighbor, when I was a freshman on the 8th floor, no big deal. My next door neighbor, his dad was a king, so my next door neighbor was a prince. Down the hall from me, there was a cute little girl. She had freckles on her face. No big deal. Her great uncle had been the president of the United States of America, the president that took us to the moon, the president that stopped the Cuban Missile Crisis. You might know his name. His name was John F. Kennedy. And so I'm walking that stage, and I'm shaking the president of the university's hand, and I know that the king is watching the kid from South Texas, the migrant kid, walk across that stage. The Kennedys were there. There was about 60 of them. They have a huge pack. They had VIP seats, but they had VIP seats to see me, the kid who had worked the fields, walk that stage. The same way I used to walk row by row by row here in South Texas, making sure that there was water in all the fields. I was walking that stage and I was looking row by row by row, and I'm seeing the Kennedys, I'm seeing the royal family. But there's one more family. In my family, I'm the oldest of 6. So there's Joshua, Jasmine, Gilbert, Jeremy, and Lucy. My mom had gotten out of prison at the time. My mom, she gets in the car. They all get in one car here in South Texas. That's how you know we're Mexican. And they drive 30 hours across the country to Washington, D.C. I was just in Austin 2 days ago. I was speaking with a dad. His little girl, he's from south of Austin, south of San Antonio. His little girl's at Harvard because educators like yourselves inspired, advocated, and made sure that this little girl could make it to Harvard. Dad didn't speak any English, and he's talking in front of all these counselors across the state of Texas, and he's telling them how his little girl's in Harvard, and they have to drive 45 hours. They showed the map all the way across the country. My family, they drove 30 hours to Washington, D.C., so that way my brothers and sisters could see me walk the stage and shake the president of the university's hand. Everybody say vision.
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 Everybody say keep change. See, I'm so proud to tell you, I was the first one, but I was not the last one. My brother Joshua right behind me, my brother Joshua, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, and he's ugly. Has nothing to do with the story, I just want you to know that I'm the cute one. He was like, if you're the cute one, you must be. You know, my brother, he's awesome, I love my brother. Growing up, we grew up poor, we shared a bed. We would fight over who got to be close to the fan. He would fart in my face. Did I tell you that I hate my brother? No, I love my brother. My brother Joshua, he did so good in athletics that he goes on to Abilene Christian University. He becomes the second strongest player in the nation. My brother Joshua could bench press 225 pounds 42 times without stopping or taking a break. He's a beast. Everybody say beast.
Beast.
My brother, he's getting ready to do his workout. 30 NFL coaches, they fly to Abilene, Texas to watch my brother. There's 40 other players that come from all parts near Dallas, Texas, near Abilene. They come to my brother's university because they say, well, if they're watching Joshua, maybe they'll see me. And so there's 40 other players working out next to my brother. My brother's turn to get onto the bench press. Everybody stops what they're doing. All 40 players, they stop warming up. They stop doing their drills, and they surround my brother. All 30 NFL coaches, that's what they came to see. They came to see my brother. They stopped watching the other players and they're looking only at my brother. My brother Joshua, he's getting ready to do his bench press workout. He gets ready to go, and I stand on, can I borrow your phone? I actually have to stand on an empty bench to get over all the people because I'm so proud of my brother. I'm filming him, and I want to put it on YouTube because I'm a millennial. And so I'm filming my brother. He's getting ready to do his workout. My brother, he gets crazy. My brother gets so pumped and excited, he begins to slap himself in the chest. All the players around him, they feel the energy that my brother's giving off. They begin to slap themselves in the chest. I'm just filming with an iPad, but I get excited. I slap myself in the chest. Real quick, every 2 times, slap yourself in the chest. Y'all are crazy. Only the kids. That's usually only the kids that do that. I'm filming. My brother gets so pumped and excited, he begins to slap himself in the face. All the players, they begin to slap themselves in the face. I'm just filming. I slap myself in the face. But everybody feels my brother's energy. The same way as y'all go to your schools, I want y'all to go with passion. I want you to go with that heart. I want you to go with that focus. I want the students, the families to feel your energy. That you're going to leave this conference, you're going to go and you're going to go inspire, you're going to show them the energy. And so I'm just filming my brother, and all of a sudden it's time. And I get a tug on my shirt. I'm focused filming my brother. I get a tug on my shirt, and it's a little tiny man. He says, "Are you Jonathan?" I said, "Yes." And I went right back to filming my brother. He tugs on my shirt a second time. He says, "Are you Jonathan?" I said, "Yes." And I went right back to filming my brother. He tugs on my shirt a third time. He says, "I'm your brother's NFL agent." So I get down and I listen. He says, "I had dinner with your brother 2 days ago. I'm so proud of your brother. Your brother Joshua, he's an amazing athlete. Your brother Joshua is an amazing student. Your brother Joshua, I spoke with the president. The president of the university loves your brother. The coaches love your brother. All the team loves your brother." And so I asked your brother Joshua, I said, "Joshua, how did you become so successful?" He said, "The next thing that your brother told me brought tears to my eyes because I didn't know." Your brother Joshua told me, he said, "Sir, I want you to know that when I was really young, my mom and dad, they went to prison. And so I had to push." Everybody say push.
Push.
He said, "Sir, I want you to know that when I was really young, I had to dream big because in my family, we always were working in the fields. And so I wanted to dream a little bit bigger. It was hard for me to dream big and go to think that I would go to college. It was hard for me to dream big that I was going to go play college football. But I was taught by my educators that I could dream big." Everybody say dream big.
Dream big.
He said, "Sir, I want you to know that when I was really young, other kids, they teased me, they bullied me, other people made fun of me. I had even counselors that told me that I couldn't make it. And so I had to stay focused on my dreams and my goals." Everybody say focus. And he said the next thing, which ended up bringing tears to my eyes. Well, I didn't cry, but I got watery-eyed. I'm just filming my brother, and he tells me, he says, "I asked your brother Joshua," I said, "Joshua, but who showed you that you could be successful?" He said, "My older brother Jonathan, he showed me the way." Everybody tap your chest softly and say, "Show them the way." See, I didn't know that when I followed my grandfather's advice to go, that my brother was watching. I didn't know that when I followed my brother's advice, or my grandfather's advice to fight and wrestle when we were a child, that my brother was watching. I didn't know that as my educators told me that I could dream big and that I could go to those universities and I could accomplish my dreams and goals, that my brother was watching me. Your students that you're going to go back, the families that you're going to help, I believe that as you help one family to go and do their big dream, the big goals they have for their students, that all the other families are watching, their siblings are watching, and even if you could just help one, you actually help an entire generation, perhaps. Maybe you help an entire community. I was at that conference just 2 days ago. The dad said, my counselor, Miss Fenton, she helped my daughter get to Harvard. My son right behind us now at Texas A&M. And so I've seen it over and over and over as I travel the country, that as educators like yourselves, as y'all go and make impact, as you go and you focus, as you get low and get on their level, as you help them dream big, as you help them aspire, as you advocate for them, that these students could go and accomplish their dreams and their goals. And maybe because you decided to be the counselor, the educator, the migrant educator that changes one child's life, you really change the entire world, just like Gandhi said. Everyone, I hope you enjoy South Padre Island. I hope you enjoy South Texas. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be with each and every one of you. Thank you so much. My grandfather passed away 3 years ago, and for the last 3 years, I've been working on a book, and so I named it Migrant Mindset because I was so tired that so many people, as I travel the country, they say, Jonathan, but you're a migrant. Didn't you learn a lot of bad habits? Isn't there a lot of bad things that happened because you were a migrant? And so I wanted to write a book completely different. So there's so many lessons that I put into my book that my grandfather taught me, because I wanted to teach people that the mindset that these migrant students have, there's actually so many strengths that they come with. That as they're going and they're traveling all across the state or maybe even all across the country, that there's so many things that are powerful that are in their minds, that if you all could just help and inspire them a little bit more, if you all would just advocate for them a little bit more. And so I wrote my book in such a way where I wanted my grandfather's lessons to be highlighted and how they helped me. And so I wrote this book. It's in the final stages of production. And so real quick, I didn't tell Ken, I've been speaking with Ken about coming here. And so Ken's the one that brought me here. So real quick, can you all give Ken a round of applause? Could you all give the entire committee here and all the board members and committee members a round of applause real quick? Is it okay if I over-deliver for you all? Can I give you all something for free?
Yes.
Now, I have a sponsor, and they told me that they believe in the mission that you all are doing. I believe in you all's mission. I believe that you are going to go inspire, you're going to go advocate, you're going to do all the things that this conference teaches you to do. And so I talked to my sponsor and I said, I want every person here to get a free book. And so, free, everybody say free? Free. Everybody say free shipping. Free shipping. Free delivery. Free book. And so, all you have to do is, I didn't create like a nice web page for y'all to do that. If y'all just text me, I need your address, or else you can't get the book for free. So text me your address. I'm going to send everyone a signed, autographed copy. Y'all are going to be the first ones to receive it here in Texas before anyone else across the country. Again, my grandfather, he worked the fields just 20 minutes away and all throughout South Texas. My grandfather sacrificed for me to get my education. Thank you all for the support that you do for all these families that sacrifice as they travel across the country, the parents sacrificing for their kids. I thank you that you all sacrifice for these families. Could you all give yourselves a round of applause? And I have no idea where I left my phone or anything. It's right there. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's everything for me. I'm not allowed to leave.
Do not leave.
It it was planned perfectly that I'm already on the stage.
It was perfect. At this time, we really, from the bottom of our hearts, want to thank you for coming and sharing your inspirational message with us and reminding us to get down low, get set, focus, and to continue to shine for our families, because you are looking out at our migrant people that are in the trenches day in, day out, in the evenings, on the weekends, that are out there identifying, recruiting, looking at their families, saying, what do you need? What can we do to help? And there are times that we run into obstacles and barriers for different reasons, and we need many times that time to have that inspiration for us to continue to advocate and to cultivate our migrant program. So at this time, we would like to present to you a plaque thanking you for being here with us and giving us your words of encouragement and inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm tippy-toeing. I promise.